The purpose of this video is to assist you with proper procedures for processing your DSA batches. Please share this video with all those who will be processing gifts for your parish. Before we begin, it will be helpful if you have a copy of each of the DSA forms that we will use in our discussion placed on the table in front of you. You may want to take notes as we go along. Let's begin by reviewing the cash or check side of the pledge form. First, compare the actual amount of the donor's cash or check with the amount listed on the Amount Paid Now line. They must match. If the Amount Paid Now line was left blank and there is money enclosed, be sure to write that amount in red ink on the Amount Paid Now line. If the money enclosed is different from the amount written on the Amount Paid Now line, please cross out the incorrect amount and write the correct amount in red ink next to it. Be sure one of the methods of payment, cash or check, has a check mark in the correct box. If the donor is making a pledge and has not included cash or a check in the envelope, be sure to write 0 on the Amount Paid Now line. It is important to carefully check the math on each pledge form. Be sure the total pledge amount minus the amount paid now equals the total pledge balance. Donors do not always record these amounts correctly. If the total pledge amount line is left blank, and there is money in the envelope, the amount enclosed will be the total pledge amount. Please be sure all lines are filled in with the dollar amount enclosed. Any pledge form that has a total pledge balance listed is considered a pledge and needs to have the correct boxes checked for the months the donor wishes to receive pledge reminders or have payments charged to their credit card. If boxes are not checked, please take a moment to call the donor and determine the correct months before sending the pledge form to the diocese. We appreciate your help in expediting the processing of your pledge forms. For all cash gifts received anonymously, you will need to fill out a pledge form writing the name Anonymous on the name line, then write the total amount of cash given on the total pledge amount line, and also on the Amount Paid Now line. On the total pledge balance line, write 0. Next, put a check mark in the cash gift box on the pledge form. Be sure to add your anonymous gifts total to the gifts paid in full, cash or check total on the transmittal card. Now, let's review the credit card side of the pledge form. If a donor is making a one-time gift or a pledge using a credit card, make sure all of the information is complete, especially the credit card details. Also, make sure the donor has checked which boxes they want to have their pledge payments charged to their credit card. If there is information missing, please call the donor to get the correct information, then complete the form before sending it to the diocese. When you attach donor labels to the pledge forms, it's important to carefully cross-check the first and last name and the address written on the pledge form, with the first and last name and the address on the printed label. We have several donors in our diocese who have the same first and last name, but have a different address and belong to a different parish. We want to be sure to credit the gift to the proper donor and the right parish. Donor labels should be placed over the shaded box designated Parish Use Only in the upper right-hand corner of the form. Please do not place labels over the information the donor filled out on the left-hand portion of the form. If your parish does not have a DSA label for a donor, write the word New in the space where the label would be placed. Please write in large, clear letters. If the DSA label has incorrect information, please write the correct information on the label, preferably in red ink, before placing the label on the envelope. To begin sorting your batch, start by sorting all gift and pledge forms into the categories you see listed on the screen. Remember, not every batch will have gifts in each category. Payments on previous pledges will start coming in later in the appeal. This year, we are using transmittal cards for each gift category. To complete the transmittal cards, you will need to add the totals within each category and record the amounts. Once you have completed the transmittal cards, you will need to attach it to the bundle of forms. Within each category, there may be one or more of these 3 subcategories. Determine the subcategories and attach the appropriate batch card to those pledge forms. Please alphabetize pledge forms by donor's last name only within the correct ID subcategory. This will be helpful to you when you fill out your parish tracking list. Pledge forms that fall into the gifts for other parishes or the declined deceased category will not need to have a transmittal card attached. Only a batch card needs to be attached. Often during DSA, donors will fill out a pledge form, making a pledge to DSA on a given weekend. Then make a payment on that original pledge a weekend or two later. These payments on a previous pledge should not be counted as a new gift. They are payments on previous pledges. In order to properly record these gifts, you will need to use the Payments on Previous Pledges form. We have divided the Payments on Previous Pledges form into two separate categories: cash check payment and credit card payment. It's important to keep these two types of payments separate. You will not need to prepare a new pledge form for either type of payment. Instead, please record this information on the Payments on Previous Pledges form and remember to transfer the total amount for the cash check payments to the transmittal summary. Credit card payments on previous pledges do not need to be transferred to the transmittal summary. Now we are ready to complete the transmittal summary. Begin by entering the parish information at the top of the summary sheet. Then, transfer all totals from the individual transmittal cards and the cash check payments on previous pledges form. All of these documents are color-coded to match the appropriate line on the transmittal summary to enter totals. Once you have transferred all the totals, add the amounts in the Number of Cards column and enter the total in the red outlined box. Next, add all amounts in the Amount Pledged column and enter that total in the red outlined box. An important note here: these two totals are the only totals that the diocese will need emailed or faxed for the weekly report. Now, add all the amounts in the Amount Paid Now column and enter that total on the Total Amount Paid Now line. Then, enter the total amount paid now on the total amount enclosed line. These two dollar amounts must be the same. Be sure to enter your parish check number. At the very bottom of the transmittal summary, you will see a yellow highlighted box. Record the total number of gifts for other parishes in this box as well as the total cash paid for these gifts. Once you have all gifts properly processed, attach the transmittal summary to the batch. Include your parish check and mail your batch to the diocese in a transmittal envelope. Please check the following items before mailing your batches to the diocese. Check to be sure that each bundle is sorted into the proper category. Check to see each bundle has the appropriate transmittal card on top. And be sure that each bundle has the appropriate subcategory batch card attached. Only in the subcategory Correct ID, check to be sure the pledge forms are sorted in alphabetical order by donor's last name. And lastly, be sure to keep the top sheet of each transmittal card and the transmittal summary for your parish files. Check to see that the bottom sheet of each transmittal card is attached to the appropriate bundle of pledge forms, along with the proper batch card. Include the bottom sheet of the transmittal summary with your batch. After you have assembled the batch, mail it along with your parish check, made payable to the Diocese of Lansing, in a DSA transmittal envelope. Please do not mail 2012 DSA gift pledge forms to the P.O. Box. This is the lockbox that is set up to receive DSA pledge payments after July 1, 2012. With the implementation of new DSA procedures, it will be critical for the diocese to have written documentation of your weekly totals. Prior to mailing your batch to the diocese, if you wish to provide weekly totals for the Friday report, please email your weekly totals to Lisa Weber at the address on your screen, or fax your totals to Attention Lisa Weber, 517-342-2513. We need only two figures for the Friday report: the total number of pledges and the total dollar amount of those pledges. These are the two figures entered in the red outlined box on the transmittal summary. The Diocese of Lansing publishes weekly DSA parish totals in the Catholic Times. Due to their publication deadline, we need your totals by Thursday, end of business day. If we receive emailed or faxed totals after the Thursday deadline, they will be reflected in the following week's issue of the Catholic Times. The diocese also emails a DSA report to all of our parishes every Friday. The same Thursday end of business day deadline applies for this emailed report. Our DSA team is here to serve you. We want your parish to be successful in meeting and exceeding your parish goals. If you have questions or need assistance, please contact one of our team members. If you have questions regarding address changes, a donor's pledge, or if you sent an incorrect label and need to make a change, please contact Marian Neurotowick by emailing her at the address you see on the screen, or telephone Marian at 517-342-2461. If you want to email or fax your weekly totals to the diocese prior to mailing in your batch, please email Lisa Weber at the address you see on the screen, or fax your totals to Attention Lisa at 517-342-2513. If you need extra DSA supplies like transmittal cards, pledge envelopes, or other items, please email Lisa at the address on the screen or telephone Lisa at 517-342-2535. For all other DSA-related questions, or if you have difficulty reaching one of the other team members, please email Patricia O'Hearn at the address on the screen, or telephone Pat at 517-342-2503. We hope this instructional video has been helpful. Please share the procedures video with all who are involved in processing batches for your parish. It is our goal that the new procedures will provide more accurate and timely processing, both at the parish and the diocesan level. We know that with the new process there is bound to be some confusion. Please give it a try this year and be patient. We won't know how well this process works until we try it. We ask you to help us continue to develop good practices by letting us know what works and what doesn't. As the appeal progresses this year, please keep notes of opportunities you see for improvements next year. We will send a survey to each parish at the conclusion of DSA. This will give each parish an opportunity to provide valuable feedback for next year's appeal. By working together, we will be able to make informed decisions moving forward.